Okay. Hi, folks.
Hello.
Now, here I am. We are together, June Rogers. And today we're going to talk about indulgent parenting.
Right. Well, every parent is indulgent, right?
Yes.
We want to give everything to our children and all the time, but in the end, it's not such a great idea. So talk to us about the indulgent parent.
So, for those of you who are familiar with my model, you know that I have 6 parenting styles, which I call filters of how we deal with situations and people. And on the unhealthy side, one of them is the indulgent parent. I actually say indulgent/neglectful, because if you are indulging and giving everything to a child, everything, then actually I see that as being neglectful.
Okay.
There are other ways of being neglectful as well, but I that's how I actually see that. So, and indulgence is a continuum, right? There are those who highly indulge, and then those who are very neglectful. I think that's sort of the same continuum. And what's important to note is that with indulgence or overindulgence, you create, and you could imagine what you create in a child, right? You create entitled, self-centered, self-absorbed, potentially narcissistic children who become self-absorbed, selfish, narcissistic adults. So we really want to be careful about indulging and overindulging our children. And what I really love is, if parents, we can all look within and ask ourselves, why are we doing this?
Okay, so I'm going to use myself as an example. I am a mother of a son, and through the miracle of technology, I was able to conceive him through in vitro fertilization. So every parent, of course, thinks their children are special, but in my case, I really thought I got, lucky with the lottery, because not that many
And he's
women.
pretty special.
Well, he is special. And so for me, it was like, oh my goodness, I was so grateful to have him, and I wanted everything for him. I just wanted to make his life the best ever. And of course, I came from a family where I was the third in line and no indulgence whatsoever. It would be freezing outside, and I would say, can I get a lift to a school? No, you're going to walk. So I always thought, okay, stiff upper lip.
Right.
But, in some cases, you give your kid a ride to school when it is freezing outside. So that was my way of looking at things. So I did indulge my son. He wanted this little truck. He got the little truck.
Gotcha.
He wanted that sports t-shirt. He got the sports t-shirt. But then after a while, I started wondering, is this the greatest thing in the whole wide world to do? And then there was a time when he wanted this video game, because all of his friends had this video game. And it cost a lot of money. And I thought, I'm not going to do this one. So I said, okay, if you want this video game, you're going to have to work for it.
Okay.
This was when he was around 11 years old, I think. And by goodness, he did. He mowed lawns, he shoveled snow, he worked for it. And you know what? I think of all the things he ever got, this was his most precious.
Interesting, eh?
And then it was from then on, during the summer, he wanted to just sit around between school. And we said, no, you're going to get a job. And I remember once my husband took him to Metro to get a job. And the only job they had was in the meat department.
Okay.
And, he kicked and he screamed, but he loved having his own money. And so that's where we stopped being indulgent. And I think he's better off for it, for sure.
I totally
So where does the parent come from that's indulgent? What's going on?
Well said. Okay, and it could be a number of things, because I always say, I'm a family of origin therapist. I like to know where we've come. And it could be a number of things. It could be that they didn't have anything,
right,
and they're overcompensating and saying, I'm giving my kid everything.
Right.
It could be that maybe they're feeling sort of hollow inside and they need to fill it with stuff. There's a lot of possibilities.
So how does indulging your child fill you up?
Well, if you, let's say, if you are hollow and you are living through your child and you are giving them everything, then it fills you as well. You know, this is, we spoke about codependency in another video.
Right.
This is very similar in that, you know, if I'm hollow, I fill myself with me. But in codependency, if I fill it with somebody else, then I'm filling actually their needs. I'm still not attuned to myself and what I need and want and value and believe.
Right. Get that.
Now, you know, I grew up in a family where my father was highly indulgent to my sibling. And I watched that. And when I met my husband, one of the really important things for me was that they will not be indulged. They will not be indulged. I will not do that. It actually had a really big impact on me growing up. And it's a good thing because my husband did not come from an overly indulged family of origin at all. And he could have said, no, I want my kid to have this. Right. But we worked it out. And, you know, I really do feel that my girls, my two daughters, are wonderful women. Don't expect a handout, hardworking, not entitled. And so I'm happy about that. But here's a perfect example that I came from a background where I witnessed that, and I made a decision early saying that's not going to be the way.
Just the opposite of me,
right? Isn't it?
For sure. But I mean, so you're not feeling very good about yourself. You're feeling hollow. I still think that there's something, you know, if you're filling yourself up by indulging somebody else, it doesn't work, obviously. But how do you become aware that you're doing that?
I don't know if you do until somebody smacks you across the face and says, what are you doing? Because, you know, parents who indulge children think that they're doing a fabulous job. Right? Like, I'm a great parent. I give my child this. When my child needs this, I do this. When they need help, I step in. I do this for them. They want that. It's good for them. So they're not actually understanding. So I'm not sure indulgent parents at the moment have the insight. Unless somebody kind of taps them on the shoulder, and it could be a therapist. To say, let's look at this. Let's look at this kind of parenting. And to your question, why this is your choice. Because there's always, right? What do I say? All behavior is motivated. There's always a motivation behind a parenting style.
And so, what's a happy, good parent look like?
Well, on the healthy side of my self-integration model is the protective parent, the nurturing parent, and the guide. And what you did with Adam is you actually guided him. So you didn't say no to this fabulous toy he wanted, right? But you set some rules, boundaries, limitations, and said, you know what? Let's talk about this. I'm not just giving it to you.
Right.
And this makes sense to me. How about, we contribute and you contribute? That's right. Or I'm not giving in, and I think it's time that maybe you find your way and you earn your little dollars and put them together, working at Metro, and you buy it. And then it's not a handout, so it gives these kids a sense of empowerment that I can do it.
Yes, I think that's really important, especially as they move on. Go to university.
Right. They have to know that.
There's no way that you're going to be there for them at university. Right. They have to have a sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely.
And if
you keep
empowerment. If you keep on helicoptering around and talking to their professors.
Right. And that is
I've heard of
we
it.
giggle about that, but I've heard that too.
Yes.
I called up my kid's university professor.
Yes. What are you doing that for?
Right.
They have to figure it out, right?
And this is another example of the catastrophizing parent, making the parent feel anxious in their little child state. And what do they do to correct that? They move into control.
Okay, same thing.
Right.
And what were you saying before your good quote? You said,
My quote, my tagline is, if my happiness is dependent upon somebody else changing, I will live in chronic dissatisfaction. Yes, and I think what we can do is maybe next video. Talk a bit about that.
Okay.
All
right.
Great. Okay, guys. Hope this was informative. Thank you, June.
You're welcome.
Great questions, inspiring. And once again, if you have any questions about this video, please email me at info@donnajacobs.ca. That's info@donnajacobs.ca. or my website, donnajacobs.ca. Okay?
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.